Guys, so it's me, Teelar here. I'm going to be doing another ramble video, kind of just talking about something that I guess a lot of people probably wouldn't expect out of this channel, but because I am such a, I guess, psychology fanatic, on top of like being really interested into biochemistry, I just kind of want to ramble off some of my thoughts with like psychology and biochemistry to a general point, just so that way people kind of have an understanding of two things that have been a big part of my life. So here we go. So we're not going to be talking about the typical thing that most people would expect out of me, like depression and shit, because that's simple. Like, that's a very basic topic. There's not much to cover about it. It's the most simple shit ever. I'm going to be talking about schizophrenia. I've been a diagnosed schizophrenic for about 3 months now, and I've always known it, but I just kind of never talked about it because I always thought that I could control it myself, because generally there's no real fix for schizophrenia. It's kind of just a disorder that's caused through your detachment from reality, and it's not a predisposal at all. It's entirely through introversion on top of trauma and a bunch of other very complex situational things that can lead up to it. And almost every case is the same. It's pretty much an extroverted person going introverted due to trauma usually, and this causes them to kind of go wonky. I am a very outgoing person. I'm a very energetic human, but there's just something that doesn't really allow me to be able to just normally go into public and just socialize. I just have a problem with it, and I'm not sure what it is, but I generally have an understanding, so I'm able to work around it. So here we go. So pretty much schizophrenia is just the general idea of an antisocial being that has very paranoid traits due to trauma. So it could cause hallucinations and such, like auditory hallucinations, detachment from themselves, causing their own thoughts to be their, like, a voice in their head, because they don't even know how to process their thoughts anymore, on top of their just becoming a total recluse. And I was getting very, 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 very close to the point of being a schizophrenic. I wouldn't say that I'm a full-blown schizophrenic yet, but I do go into psychosis, and this is the issue. So psychosis is pretty much when your brain overloads itself, and it's almost, I don't even know how to really explain it. You can't really explain psychosis. It's just kind of like you're kind of there and existing, and you don't really do much, but you can. It's so confusing because some people function in psychosis like I do. I can go in public and I can be in psychosis, and I don't get any of the typical negatives to psychosis, where I genuinely wish the worst for humans. I think humans are disgusting creatures. I think everyone on this earth is bound to just be a part of natural selection and just be a fucking burning recipe for nothing. So the question is why are we here on top of that? And that's kind of where my brain is. It's a real disorganized mess. You can't really pick at my brain. It kind of just all comes out. There's no general like pattern to it. There's no thought process. It's just all information that's in my brain that's stored, and it just kind of can come out. There's no way to control it. There's no way to really even process it properly, and the only way I can process it is through my own voice out loud. So that's why I like to do these ramble videos first off. So I'm gonna be uploading a lot of these to this channel, so but yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah. Generally, schizophrenia isn't a thing that a lot of people will talk about because it's a very not understood mental disorder, which I don't really get because it's pretty basic. I mean, it's just high dopamine on top of high serotonin. Well, in some cases, high serotonin. I wouldn't say I'm high serotonin due to the fact that I have like a general good outlook on life. I'd say my serotonin levels are pretty high. Well, the main reason of being is that I used to abuse a drug that was actually a serotonin or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which SSRI, for those who don't know what that exactly means, it's an antidepressant form, but it was actually a drug that I abused, so I don't want to get into that because that doesn't really matter. But yeah, so oh god, so schizophrenia is pretty much just, it's, imagine being high on amphetamines, but it's the 24/7 lifestyle, and I'm sober. Pretty much my brain just feels wired. There's no control to anything, but if I want to do something, I can do it very easily. It's almost like being a superhuman. It's actually kind of funny, but it has some serious negative drawbacks due to the trauma processing behind it. I always like to call schizophrenics are like the quiet geniuses, because we are not really given the chance to live life, but we have the opportunity. And it's not really fair to us, but I guess it's kind of how we have to accept it, because that's just a part of natural selection, where some people genuinely just will never get anywhere, because it's just, that's how the world has to work. If we aren't given the opportunity to be able to do this, well, I mean, then that doesn't leave room for the Elon Musks of the world and the Albert Einsteins, and it's just, where are we? I mean, we don't really get a chance, because that's a part of natural selection. If we had a bunch of Elon Musks around, if we had a bunch of Albert Einsteins, it's all predetermined. There's no way in hell that there isn't a predetermination. That's a hard word, sorry. Predetermination. I can't fucking speak. I'm sorry. To our own lives, because this just shows me that there was something that decided that I would never be able to make it, because as a kid, I was a genius. I was very smart. I was about 138 IQ at the age of 12, and I had some of the best outlooks on life. I mean, my family thought I was going to become the next fucking McAfee practically, because I had so many aspirations in biochemistry on top of I was a really smart tech kid. I was insanely good with psychology, and I was always a very, 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 very creative thinker. And my family was convinced, like, dude, this kid's a genius. There's no way he won't make it somewhere in the world. And now here I am. I'm playing RuneScape like 15 hours a day. I'm barely able to really like live a normal life because it's just too hard for me. And I'm trying my best to get myself into the world, but it's just not possible to a point. It's just a part of natural selection. And this is what I mean by even the most genius humans on Earth can't really get anywhere, because I like to consider myself a really smart person. I like to consider myself even better than most of the world, because I have this ability to think through stuff faster than most people, because people want to tell me that no, you don't, but like clearly there's a reason why I'm able to talk off the top of my head about the same general topic and go for 9 minutes straight even right now, and just have no notes, going straight off the top of my head, and be this passionate over something as simple as schizophrenia. Something that, yeah, it's a part of my life, don't get me wrong, but most schizophrenics, I don't feel like care that much. They kind of just acknowledge that it happens, it's what their disorder is, and they don't want to look into it. And that's kind of fucked up, because it's like, you have the ability, well, just put some effort into it, man. But schizophrenia, the problem with it nowadays is a lot of people want to overthink it, when the reality is, as I said, it's just an overlap of dopamine, because some schizophrenics have seizures. I almost had a seizure yesterday. It was pretty fucking intense, actually, but I was able to pull myself out of it. And it's scary shit. It's really fucked up, because it's when you go into psychosis, it causes some people to go into seizures, because it's practically your brain getting overlapped with dopamine. Because you can look into it generally by Googling into it, that schizophrenia or psychosis in general can have correlations with epilepsy on top of psychosis. So my bad. And this is kind of just, it's funny to me because I don't know why there isn't more studies done into this, because this is something that even in like the past 3 months of me getting into biochemistry, that even I've generally figured out, like, this is how to fix it. Like, we just need to be able to figure out how to lower dopamine levels in schizophrenics. So pretty much giving a schizophrenic person more stimulation would actually be the solution. So why are all of the antipsychotics and all of the medication methods literally just putting schizophrenics down? I mean, I get it. A benzo is able to like bring down dopamine levels due to the fact you're sedating a schizophrenic, but that's not going to help them, because then they're stuck with their own thoughts, and that's going to cause overstimulation anyways. What needs to be set up with the schizophrenic is in CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. There needs to be a setup of like creating this good balance of medication with being able to release your dopamine. So, number one, here's what I believe for schizophrenia. I believe giving a schizophrenic amphetamines will actually be able to benefit them in a weird way, but it has to be done in more or less a therapeutic method. They cannot be prescribed it and just given it, because schizophrenic people have a habit to have an addictive personality. And this is due to the fact that when we take drugs, it causes our brain to release dopamine, which, and in a sense, just pretty much makes us calm. So we get more effects out of it than the normal humans would. So here's the exact reason why I say that giving a schizophrenic person a low dose of a stimulant would actually benefit, because it has inverse tolerance, where if you take 1 milligram of amphetamines, it'll actually lower your dopamine levels and cause more or less a reset, so that way you can kind of get yourself back in and try to be able to, I guess, have like a dopamine reset. And it's almost a break from dopamine, which, number one, will give your thoughts more space, because when you have higher dopamine levels, it actually causes anxiety, which is a lot of the part of paranoia in schizophrenia. So that alone is enough to be able to just help a ton, I believe, at least. And then once we finish that, we could pretty much just go into it from a sideline and just maybe give benzos or something to be able to calm them down while they can think about their thoughts, and they aren't just stuck in this trance-like state while sedated. And that's when therapy can begin, and we can start to figure out a way to fix this disorder, because a lot of schizophrenics can't think through their thoughts well enough. I can't do it either. It's an issue. But I guess that's all I wanted to really say for this video. I know it's a jumbled mess of a lot of shit. Sorry for how fucking erratic this video is, because I'm not very good at keeping consistency. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.